There are few challenges that we get to face when we start the gluten-free challenge. And one of them is not knowing exactly what to give your child. But we've kind of navigated that, if I may say. We've kind of navigated that by giving you guys a planner, okay? But you will go to that planner, I promise you, and then you'll say, come on, Natsa, you're giving me a child rice. I don't want my child to have rice. Absolutely, I agree with that. Your child may not need to be having rice. I want you to look at the planner and ask yourself, is this right for my child? That's the key thing. Is this right for my child? Because remember, when you look at one child with autism, you've looked at one child with autism. But equally, I want us to look and make sure that we remember that when we put a single thing in your child's mouth, you are going to trigger a chemical reaction. That's what you're going to do. It really doesn't matter whether you've given your child broccoli, it's going to trigger a chemical reaction. Every single thing that you put in your child's mouth triggers a chemical reaction. So it must be a chemical reaction that we want. That's very important. It must be a chemical reaction that we want. If it's a chemical reaction that we don't want, then we shouldn't be giving our child that. Okay, we shouldn't be giving our child that. So I want to demonstrate to you what I mean by that, by showing you labs. The takeaway to everything today is moderation, rotation, and assessing your child for tolerance. If you can take away anything from my talking today, if you can take away anything this year, just this year, is rotate, moderation, and tolerance. And I've got one beautiful therapy tracker that I have that I'm going to be showing you. I cover a lot of mistakes throughout the challenge, but today I want to come back close to the subject that most of you are not aware of. One of the biggest mistakes that I see quite a lot when we remove our children of gluten and of dairy is loading our children with a lot of things like oxalates. At the therapy trackers we're going to look at today through the eyes of this organic acid test, and I thought it was perfect. So you may be asking, Natsai, where are the oxalates? The majority of gluten-free breads, they will be high in oxalates because they will use a lot of nut flours. They will use a lot of seeds. So it's very easy for you to overload on oxalate. This kid came to me, he was already on a lot of special diets. You can actually see that mom was trying hard, okay? Really trying hard to remove everything that is considered unclean. But it is very easy to remove those things that are considered unclean and make your baby unwell just by making this error. So those that are joining me from wherever you are, you're welcome. We're looking at the 5 common mistakes that are made when people start the diets. And while there are many mistakes, if you're not following us, then I'll probably encourage you to follow us as we cover most of those mistakes. And I promise you, you are making some of those mistakes, or you've already made those mistakes, because I, as well as hundreds of other mothers, have made those mistakes. But today we are looking at the lab results, because usually I love looking at labs. I don't want to just tell you things without demonstrating the evidence of what it is that I'm talking about. One of the biggest mistakes that we see that people do make when they put their child on the gluten-free, casein-free diet is loading their kid with a lot of oxalates, salicylates, sugar, many other things. Today, we are looking at one of my kids' organic acid tests that you're seeing here. And this is a young man that has got an ATA score over 100. He came to me already on a diet, had been doing quite a lot of biomedical treatments and with little to zero progress. And obviously, because of what I do, the diet is the cornerstone of what I do. And if you've been following me for a long time, you know there is no magic wand. And I always believe that if somebody had told me there was no magic wand, I probably would have had a completely different story in regards with my son. But I started running for the magic ones. I was going for the magic ones, and there's nothing like that. And this is what I'll be teaching you guys over the next 12 months. We are addressing the low hanging fruit. So that's why we are doing this, really. It'd be great for you guys to join the deep dive or to come to me on one-on-ones after you've taken the child off gluten, and we are now beginning to dig deep. That way we fast track our children into a better place very quickly. So as you can see, this beautiful little kid, oxalates extremely high. 460. This is a small baby. For those that understand what oxalates are crystals. They are very, very painful. They lodge themselves under the tissues and penile area, vaginal area, under the eyes, under the feet. I had one kid that came into clinic. His feet were peeling off, practically peeling off, never wore his shoes, hated shoes. And if, mom sent me the pictures of his feet, they were peeling off, didn't know what it was. And we had to address the subject of oxalates. So if you're looking at this organic acid test, as you can see, there's quite a lot of oxalates right there. Quite a lot of oxalates for a little body to deal with. And I must admit, this is one of the highest amount of oxalates that I've seen for a small child like this. When you looked at the therapy tracker, which I've had the privilege to see some of the therapy trackers that have been sent with the people that are in the community. And for the sake of time now, we are only going to be able to look at one. But I am already seeing this theme. I'm already seeing the same theme of overloading the child with oxalates and salicylates. If we do that, we are creating a worse situation than gluten. Okay, your baby would be a lot better on gluten and casein than having a lot of oxalates. Yes, I just said that. Your beautiful baby is a lot better on gluten and casein and on McDonald's than having a lot of oxalates. I did say that. Okay. So you really want to remember, if you're going to take anything away from this conversation, moderation, rotation, moderation, rotation. You must give your child foods with moderation. Don't overdo things. Don't overdo the likes of vegetables. Don't overdo those things. Okay, as beautiful as beetroots are, as detoxifying to the liver as beetroots are very high in oxalates. Okay, as amazing as okra and plantains are, they are very high in oxalates. Okay, as amazing, I'm telling you, as amazing as buckwheat flour. I usually have, give me something to bake with, give me something to bake with. And what we end up having is people defaulting heavily to almond flour or buckwheat flour. Those things are extremely high on oxalates. We talk about that in the deep dive. You get the breakdowns of what you should not touch and what you shouldn't touch, what you should touch. But really here, I want you to think moderation. For the sake of the journey we are in, or the journey we are on, I want you to think moderation. There are going to be a lot of foods that are going to be in the ebook. I'm sure we should be able to share that other side of where we talked about the ebook last time before we had the little incident. But really, I want you to think about moderation. Don't overdo anything. Don't overdo it. Rotate, 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 rotate. An apple to Jojo is not an apple. An apple to Jojo is a salicylate. Does that make sense? Now that he's healed, he can tolerate apples. But I'm not going to be silly to give him 5, 10 apples. I'm not going to do that. Okay? I'm not going to do that. So you don't want to do that, especially if you're not working directly with someone. Okay? If you're not working directly with someone, you don't have a nutritionist on board, or you're working with an MD or some other person that does not understand the biochemistry, of nutrition, then you want to go in there moderately and you want to rotate. So you don't want to be giving your child chickpeas on Monday, chickpeas on Tuesday, chickpeas on Wednesday, chickpeas on Thursday. You don't want that. Okay, you want to rotate, 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 rotate. That way you don't overburden the body. That way you don't overload the body. If you overload the body with oxalates, like what we're looking at here, this kid already has a gene that doesn't like the oxalates. He produces his own oxalates. He has a lot of yeast, parasites, and bacteria that are driving this oxalates as well. So when you bring in the beetroots that mommy was giving, the okra that mommy was giving, the plantains that mommy was giving, that becomes a heavy burden. And when we then look at our child, we then say this child has got autism because this child is restless. But the truth of the fact is, it may be autism, but it may also be the fact that his brain is being irritated by oxalate. Okay, so you must rotate, beautiful souls, especially on this 21 days. I want you to rotate, to rotate, to rotate. So that's the first mistake. And the second mistake, which is very interesting, and unfortunately, I'm seeing this quite a lot, and I've been trying to understand the theme behind this. And the only argument that has come to thought when I look at the case studies of kids that are coming up with this pattern where they have a lot of kittens. When we're looking at labs with loads of kittens, for those that are on Zoom, can you just chat and let me know if you can see what this organic acid test? Can you see this? This kid is actually producing a lot of kittens. This kid is in ketosis. And then when I asked mommy, is he on a ketogenic diet? Mom says he's not on a ketogenic diet. Okay, and for those that have been following me, we do not do ketogenic diet for our kids on our own without close supervision. Even I, Nasai, is as experienced as I am with working with diets, I will never give a mom a ketogenic diet. I never do that without us being able to monitor that child. And if you look at this organic acid test, remember we're still looking at one kid here. This is not two labs. This is one lab for one kid. So he's loaded with oxalates and he is in ketosis. Can you see that? His body is utilizing fats to produce energy. That's what it's doing. She removed the glutens, the grains. She removed the pasta, the maize. She removed all those things, right? All those things that are considered not so great. But she put her child in a starvation mode. That's exactly what she did. The kid is practically starving. Just by looking at that, the kid is starving. So when you then see your child flapping, steaming, making noises, not paying attention, it is really not autism. In the deep dive on the first module, I talk about what is not autism and how we are looking at autism from a biomedical point. And I promise you the majority of it is not. So like in this case, as you can see, this kid, oxalates are extremely painful. So he's having headaches, right? And he's starved because we've removed the grains, we've removed the gluten, we've removed the wheat, we've removed the milk that contains a lot of nutrients, and we are unfortunately giving the kid a lot of vegetables. That's what was up. The kid was having a lot of smoothies, a lot of juicing was happening, right? So he is just detoxing. So if we had time, I was going to show you some of his mineral markers. He was depleted. The kid, it was like this, like this, like this. And what breaks my heart in all this is mommy is trying her best. You've got to understand this storyline from this end. Mommy is doing her best for her child. So she's not going to McDonald's. She's not going to the parties. She's not having those, those sleepovers because she doesn't want contamination. But at the same time, she's pushing the child on the other side. Okay? So that's the second mistake where we are driving the kids into starvation. The other common mistake is loading the kids with sugar, really. Okay? Really loading the kids with sugar and driving hypoglycemia. So this answers that question to that mom who said, I removed my child off gluten and all of a sudden they became more aggressive. I removed my child of gluten and all of a sudden my child became extremely hyperactive. My child's behavior got worse. Yes, your child's behavior is going to go worse if your child has got blood sugar yo-yoing like this. Okay, your child's behavior is going to go worse if they have got an erratic blood sugar like this. You wake up in the morning, you feed them all these gluten-free cereals. They'll be extremely high in sugar. So you're loading your kid with a lot of sugar, and then guess what happens? The blood sugar drops again in very few minutes, and you load it up again, you drop it up again. So the whole day the poor kid is like this, and then you say my child doesn't focus, right? And so then this is what when you hear me talk about I had a kid who came to clinic and within 6 weeks this has happened, or within 6 weeks aggression went away, within 6 weeks the kid started sleeping, within 6 weeks. This is what is happening because we are avoiding these mistakes. Okay, and we are just correcting these mistakes. What I'm giving you guys here is like if you can take this and run with it, you're going to do well with your kid. Really, you're going to do well with your kid. So you want to avoid these mistakes that I'm talking about. You don't want to load your kid with a lot of sugar. And I promise you, a lot of us do it unknowingly and unintentionally. Okay. And we then drive hypoglycemia. I have a lot of kids that are coming into clinic and they are diabetic. They're diabetic. The kids are diabetic. And then we ask ourselves, how is that possible when we are doing all this and all this and all this and all this? Because we go out and we say, Natsai says, you must remove gluten. You must remove gluten. And then you say, what shall I give my child, Natsai? You told me to remove gluten, right? And then you end up just giving your child a lot of things that actually drive other problems. Okay, so the next thing, the other mistake is salicylates. So for those that are with me on Zoom, can you see this? Remember we are talking about one kid. Look at his salicylates. Okay, we started off with oxalates. We went on, he stuffed, and now look at his salicylates. Loaded with salicylates. Okay, loaded with salicylates. But it is done unknowingly. It is really done unknowingly. And this is why I'm saying, guys, let me share this information with you. Let me give you this information so that you don't repeat my mistakes and you don't repeat my mommy's mistakes. And then we can get our babies a lot happier at the end of this year. Okay. We don't, and if for those that are asking, wow, this sounds very complicated. The story is, the takeaway is, right? We're left with a few more minutes. Rotate, moderation, rotate, and monitor your child for tolerance. That's it. That's it. That's it. Until you get to a place where you can say, I can afford the deep dive. I can now afford to work with Natsai one-on-one. I can afford to work with somebody that is close with me, that understands nutrition and understands children with complex autism. Until you get to that point, okay, then we are going to rotate. We are going to we are going to exercise restraint and moderation. Okay. let's have an opportunity to look at a food therapy tracker. Let me see. I am going to look for a food therapy tracker for a mom who's here so I can, because I've seen a few. Let me see. Uh, if I don't get your therapy tracker, beautiful souls, those that have sent it to me, I promise you we will have an opportunity to do that. Let me see if mommy is here. I'm sure she's here. And is this yours? How do I say your name? Jason? Can you unmute yourself, darling?
It's Jay Shri.
Sorry,
Jay
how do I say your
Shri.
name?
It's Jay Shri, but you can call me Jay.
Hi, Jay. Hi. Remind me again, for those that are listening, I've got one beautiful mom. Where are you?
From South Africa.
Oh, yes, she's in South Africa.
South Africa.
South Africa,
Yes.
right. Okay. So do you want to can you see your therapy your therapy tracker?
Yes.
Yes, 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 great. Okay, let's look at this therapy tracker and let's see what it is that is going on here that you can change for me because I see there's a lot of vocal stimming, hand flapping, grinding of teeth, urinating frequently. When we see urination of frequently, when we see, especially at day and night, he's potty trained, but he urinates excessively. Just a disclaimer, guys, we are not diagnosing and mommy, if I'm right, you're the mom that is earmarked for this week's win as well. Okay? So after this call, you will receive an email from one of my admins. Does that make sense? And then you can have a one-on-one with me, and then we can deep dive into looking at some of those supplements that are there against that vocal those those behaviors. But for now, for the sake of what we are doing here, I want us to look at what is possibly driving the hand flapping. So when you hear me hand flap, I am flapping, okay? Let's take away the knowledge that is in on the public social media domain that oh a child is flapping, they're happy, okay? Here we are talking about what is possibly happening besides being happy. What can, because if I'm happy, I have no need to flap, correct? So what could possibly be happening that is making my baby flap? So flapping, I want you to think about like movement of energy. Does that make sense? Let's think about if you flap your hands, there is that need to move energy. Okay? Vocal stimming, teeth grinding, urination. It feels like there is an excess somewhere, isn't it? Mommy, are you there?
Yes, Natsai. I've got my audio off.
Okay, put your audio on, honey. I want to talk to you. This is my conversation with you.
Okay.
Yes, this is me and you now. Okay, everybody
Okay.
else will benefit from me and you, but I want you to take away. This is about you. You've done the work. You've commented in the thing. You've sent me your therapy tracker, and you've done an amazing job doing it well. Okay, and
Yeah.
I've
Thank you
also
now.
loved. Mm?
I'm going crazy here.
Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. Let's have. This is why I'm here. 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 Okay. So let's look at
Okay.
that from that point of view. So let's start off with what he had in the morning. He had coconut porridge. Okay. Was that made with coconut flour?
Um, Actually, I don't really know. All I know that on the box it said gluten-free.
Uh-huh. This is what I like. This is a great conversation. Are you at home?
Yes, I am.
Okay. While we go through the your therapy tracker, this is what we do anyway when when we're doing the one-on-ones, 6 weeks plan, when we're doing the one-on-ones, you have to bring, you get to bring your boxes so that you get to learn from that. Okay. And usually we may not have time now because I'm just being told with my team that I need to round up. We may not have time now, but what I want you to do is I really want you to go back. If you look at your ebook, okay, in your ebook, we talk about reading the labels. Okay. I want you to go and read the labels. And I want you to ask your mommy gut and say, how do I feel about this? Okay. You
Okay.
you have a choice of one-on-one with me, or you can go into the deep dive. We will talk about that. Okay. In the deep dive, when you get there, there is a segment where I specifically talk about labeling. Okay.
Yes.
Very, very important, because I can tell you this, that coconut porridge is going to be loaded with sugar. You remember when I was talking about the excess sugar?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So I can, without even looking at it, plus or minus 5 to 10 teaspoons can easily go into a bowl of cereals. So what you
Wow.
practically did is woken up, and I want to show you this. This is why I love what I do. I promise you, I get excited when I get to see this and we get to bring in solutions, because we get to prove that theory that there is more happening to our kids than just that checkbox tick box that they did to say, hey, Joshua, he's autistic. I get to see that, because you see, you've just loaded your kid with a lot of sugar, loads of sugar, not just little, loads of sugar. And not only that, if you go in and look at the box, it's very likely that you also have a lot of additives. You've got aspartame, the salicylates in there, and they drive irritation to the brain. You also have coconut. How much is in there? We have loads of salicylates that drive irritation to the brain. And then what you do, I want you to hold on to the sugar. In this case, if you're going to hold on to anything, I just want you to think about the sugar. That's all I want. For your baby, the screaming, the hand flapping, the urinating, the that is happening. I want you to think sugar. Okay? In the
Okay.
afternoon, in 4 hours later, you give your baby loads more sugar. Rice, more sugar,
Yes.
more sugar. Okay, so at 8 o'clock, his blood sugar went up, and then it dropped, and then you sent it up again, right? Okay. And
Yes.
if I look closely, we talk about proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, right? I am not seeing a lot of proteins that stabilize blood sugar. I'm not seeing that. Can you see here? Can you, those that are joining us on Zoom, I hope you can see this therapy tracker, because I want you to learn from this. It shouldn't be just about us talking. This is about us carrying this whole load that is on our shoulders together. Okay. And then,
Natsai,
mm-hmm.
when you talk about proteins, is it just meat that you're talking about?
Oh no, it can be anything. There's loads of proteins in eggs. Eggs, can you see at 6 o'clock? You gave him scrambled eggs and sausages. Those are proteins.
Yes.
Those are proteins. But what I want to demonstrate, which I hope, guys, Agnes, if you can just give me a few minutes, um, just few seconds, I'll really appreciate this. What you don't want to do is you don't want to load your kid a lot of sugar. You don't want to load your baby with a lot of sugar. Can you see it? So at 6 o'clock, you say at the bottom on your therapy tracker, on your food tracker, where it says snacks. Can you see that?
Yes.
What do you see, darling? What do you see? What do you see? Remember,
Sugar.
I love you already. Can I just see that face? Oh my God, I just love you. And this is where put your thing on. This is where I love it when I get when mommy
Sugar.
gets the moment. And when I do one-on-one, this is the best part. I say sugar, sugar. Exactly, exactly. This is for those that have really worked with me. They will tell you this. It's you really get that aha moment. And when you get your
Yeah.
aha moment, awareness, 80% of the problem solved. Yeah?
Yes, but you needed to make me see that.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's why you are here. You have made an effort. You have made an effort. You've been here, right? And you will see when we go through your child's case together, you will get more aha. Just I haven't even listened to the storyline behind. I have just looked to your now situation with your baby. That's all I've done. That's all I have done. I went on your therapy tracker and I've gone on what you're putting in your child's mouth. And you, mommy, got your aha moment. And for those that are my parents that have worked with me that I am seeing on this side here, this is why when somebody comes on a catch-up call without their therapy tracker, you get a flimsy catch-up call. But when you have your therapy tracker, I get to see it. And then I get to say urinating. Definitely he doesn't like oranges. Definitely he doesn't like mango. Definitely he doesn't like grapes. What's wrong with mango, grapes, and oranges? What's wrong with that combination?
too
Salicylates.
much.
It's salicylate
Oh,
loading. Can you see that?
okay.
It together. You've put them all together. All together. It's like what's wrong with salicylates? Nothing is wrong with salicylates. Mango is beautiful. But when you drink 20 liters of water, mommy, if you drink 20 liters of water, you'll be in hospital. Correct? It's the same
Yes.
thing with salicylates. So you hear Nati saying, remove gluten. You say, no more gluten. No more gluten. Fresh, healthy fruits. And then you go and you give your child. I love your face. Good. But you see the point? So this is why I am going to flap. This is why I am going to jump. So before we started, I should have asked you, what is your mind mop when you're thinking about this flapping? How bad is this? So it would be great that after 21 days, did you do your ATEX score?
Yes, I did.
What was it, mommy?
Yes.
What was your
It
ATEX?
was 101. 101.
One on one. So it's not an exaggeration. These points are going to drop big time when you which we're going to discuss anyway together. But for now, for the sake of everybody here and for those that are here, removing the sugar. Orange juice is a lot of sugar. Okay? Grapes is a lot of sugar. Mango is a lot of sugar. And we already started with sugar from 8 a.m. throughout the day with this beautiful kid. Okay? So instead of seeing the gains, this is why I argue that some of those studies that came out and said 75%, 65%, they were not accurate in regards to removing gluten and casein. Oh, gluten and casein doesn't work. It doesn't work. We've tried it. It doesn't work. They were not correct because they didn't give the parents what to give the children based on their child's tolerance. So if a mom was in that study and they went and they gave so much orange juices, remember to have 250 mils of oranges. You need 10 oranges, 5 to 10 oranges for a glass of orange. So that's what you've just loaded in your kid. And when you look at mangoes and grapes and oranges, from a chemical point of view, you are not looking at a fruit. Oranges, you're looking at histamines. Mangoes, you're looking at salicylates. And if we go back to that organic acid test, remember that organic acid test we were looking at? Did you remember where it said salicylates? So this is what
Yes.
I will see when I run your baby's organic acid test. Without even looking at it. because you are giving these chemicals, correct? But the beauty
Mhm.
about it is when we see it, we correct it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't looked at the rest. And I'm not going to do that because it's the storyline is the same. It's sugar and salicylates on your therapy trackers, okay? It's sugar and salicylates. Beautiful soul, I want to hug you. You're also giving your child an energizer, a methyl B. Okay, you're energizing your
Oh,
kid with the food, and you energize your kid with the methyl B's. And so your kid, when I look at your kid in clinic, this is a kid that I say is hot in terms of energetics. So when you have a hot baby based on your 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 presentation in terms of your symptoms, the baby is an energized kid. He's very hot. Okay. For those that are on the other platforms that are not seeing it here, a therapy tracker, the baby is steaming, hand flapping, grinding, urinating, and struggling to sleep. So he's hot. Chinese medicine is hot. Okay. So when we have a hot baby, any supplement that is energizing is going to be a no. We want to calm the system down. Okay. So the likes of the metals, not going to be a great idea. Okay, but we can talk about that later. This subject is about food. Okay. The storyline is reduce sugar. Okay. Reduce the sugar. And do me a favor, do me a beautiful, beautiful favor. And from this conversation, I want you to go and look at those cereals and ask yourself, do I really want to give my baby this? Yeah,
okay.
we can do that. We can do that. Was this helpful?
Oh, I cannot thank you enough.
I'm glad.
This was the best thing that has ever happened to me. Thank you so much, Nitsai.
You are welcome. You're welcome. And don't forget to look out for your email. We will connect together. So keep doing your therapy tracker. Okay. Keep doing your therapy tracker. You have an option to go into the deep dives, right? Are you new to biomed? Are you new to this whole storyline? I don't think so.
My son,
Yes.
no, no.
Okay.
I'm not new to it, but I think that I'm doing it wrong.
So if you're not new to it, how long have you been doing it? How old is your
Uh,
baby, by the
11.
11. I definitely need to work with you, okay? And at 11 o'clock, you know, I'm very, we don't, we are time sensitive. This whole industry, this whole community is time sensitive. So I really want to work with you if you can allow me to do that, if you can give me the honors to do that, okay? So you have an option. If you have been doing it a long time, it you would probably be better
No.
off you would be better off in the deep dive because you then get to write the notes. In the deep dive, I show you the the labs like I'm showing you. I show you case studies like this. You run and you can write notes and you can go back and write notes. There's a whole lot of neuroplasticity exercises that I need him to be doing. At this time, we at 11, we really need to be very, very intense with neuroplasticity. Okay. And of course, but to be very honest, once you remove most of those things, it'll be really great. Let me connect with you. It'll be my honor to give that to your family. Okay. All
Oh
right,
my
guys.
gosh. Oh, thank you so much, Nitsai.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We've got in the chat, apart from scrambled eggs, there is no other protein diet listed here. That's correct. Oh, I've got one of my beautiful moms. Obey is here. Hi, mommy. Do you want to just unmute yourself and just say hi to us? She's here. Wait.
Oh,
How are
me.
you? This is one of my beautiful
Hi, I'm
on
doing
the.
well. Sorry, I wasn't sure if I should join because I know this is probably more for um like the gluten-free challenge, but it does take me back to my first food tracker and I had lots of juice and apples and baked beans. And yeah, no, it's amazing, honestly, because sometimes I don't know um, who's following like where people are on their journey with this with biomed, but because my son was quite high with his ATEC, I always assumed that he would need like a really huge intervention to lower his ATEC. But it's just the small things done consistently that can make a really big difference.
Yeah.
I feel, I don't know. For me, definitely that's what's
Well,
helped.
well, don't forget you worked hard, darling. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, you've worked at. You've worked at. Just to give you guys a background, she was already doing a lot of biomed, but equally, I think our aha moment in your case was the fact that you allowed the stripping to happen. I think for most parents they struggle with the stripping, with the taking down of things, and with the adjusting of a complete lifestyle. And this is why I always give that back to you to say you did the work, because you allowed the stripping to happen. And I remember the first days we were working together, you were practically asking me, "What about this? What about this?" You.
Yeah, it's just amazing. He's maintained his ATEX since our last consultation, and it's still he's still doing well.
Yeah.
And
How
I
mu- how
haven't
many points?
added
How many
anything
points have you
new.
lost so far?
So he's I can't remember he's I mean within our first consultation he was definitely like 90 something,
Yeah.
and now he's around 50, 57, I think. And that's just honestly, if I look at his like all his plans, it's just that it's not, he hasn't, I mean, you've known all the stuff that I've done. I've done stem cells, I've done chelation, I've done B12, and they've never made my son, like my son's kept the same profile now. He's definitely doing a lot better. He's doing really well with the forebrain as well.
Yes.
Um, and he's just I don't know. I don't want to just kind of say too much because I feel like I'm going to
I
jinx
know, I
myself. But
know, I know.
it's things like just small things like lowering his oxalate intake has been like a really big shift for him. It's made a really big difference, and yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just so happy that I even follow you with these kind of things because I know this is probably more for maybe parents that are starting with the gluten free, but it's still things that would make a big difference to anyone that's no matter where you are with your journey, because it is the consistency that will make you see the biggest results, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And for you, you've worked hard, darling. I'm not gonna take that away from you. You know, the cooking
Thank
from
you.
home,
And I
when
hope to
we're
see you
going
soon.
out
I'm going
to
to try
try,
to
I
book
have
you
to
in
prepare
for hopefully.
myself. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Natsai. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I hope you guys also we appreciate her. If you can just drop some likes everywhere just to give her a thank you. I didn't ask her, I just realized she was here, and she was kind enough to share that testimony with you. So these are the things that we do as parents. We have to do the best we can for our children. It doesn't matter where you are at. Okay, it really doesn't matter where you are at. But and I don't want you to ever think this is too much. And this is why we're doing this together. For if you're just starting on the gluten-free diet, this is the first step. And for me, I would love everybody to come to clinic having been on the gluten-free and casein-free diet, and then we can move forward. Thank you for the hearts, guys. Thank you for the hearts on TikTok. Thank you for those that are giving up the hearts. We appreciate your testimony, mommy. It's gonna make lots of lives a lot better. And I'm sure a lot of parents that have got older kids as well. There's a lot of hope for you. Okay. And so this is what we're talking about. These are the results we get. If she managed to lose 40 points on ATEC, guys, that's huge. And we haven't been working together for a year. You've got to remember that. So when I say it's fast, it's quick. When you understand the themes, when you understand, we are looking for the theme of every child. Every child presents in a particular way. And every child has got a code. I call it a code. When you crack that code, like in this case, we cracked this code. And I think I'm going to be seeing mom, I think next week, if I'm right. I think I saw some conversation there on our follow-up. We understand the code. We already know where we are going. We already know the first time we do a full assessment, the kid tells us a clear story. It's not confusing. Our kids are not confusing. Their genetics are very clear. Their body chemistry, they are very clear. Right? So mommy knows I can play around, I can do whatever I want to do, but this is my kid. I don't go to the left, I don't go to the right. Somebody's gonna come and say, there is no evidence, there is no evidence. I understand there's no evidence for your baby. But when it comes to my baby, I cannot give my baby 5 apples. I can't, right? I understand there's no evidence, but I cannot give my baby that much. I believe in our kids. I believe in the body to heal. I also believe that if we remove the very thing that is triggering and that is driving some of those behaviors, our kids are going to be very happy. Okay, let me see. Do I have any questions before I go anywhere? And then we can call it a day. Rotate, 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 mummies, rotate. That's the key. Done. Gluten-free diet meaning spaghetti is a no-no. And there is actually gluten-free spaghetti that is made of brown rice. And what you were hearing me talk to Jay and all, but these are personalized plans. This is not a collective plan. So what we are doing at this moment as a collective is remove the two offending foods, the two things that we know drive neuroinflammation. Okay, those are the two things that we know. And for my clients, it's like about telling, for my clients, it's a big no, gluten and casein. I've never seen any kid that has done well on gluten. I've never yet to see that. For some of my children, they will be on casein because we start putting them on things like fermented foods and yogurts, but it's based on tolerance. Okay, but it's a very personalized subject. But what we are doing is we are studying what we call a 1,000-mile journey. Starts with a step. This is the first step. Okay, if you come to me, this will be part of the first step that you'll be doing. Okay, so I'm really honored to have spent this beautiful hour with you guys. So if you have any questions, if you're in the community, if you're not in the community, you're on TikTok, please come and join us in the community. I've seen quite a few of my clients on TikTok. Please join the community as well. It's open to all of us. And like I'm saying, I am sharing the mistakes. It's simple things like a toaster. One of my moms, the one who actually inspired this whole gluten-free, casein-free challenge. She was, I'm sure she's going to be with us next week. It was the toaster, right? After working with a kid for almost a year and a half. And I was like, why does he still crave for this bread when we've removed it? It was the toaster. The simple thing is that. Okay. And I'll be sharing those little mistakes with you guys. Okay. So we are covering the the low-hanging fruits. And we are going to be going in to support our children intensively and aggressively over 2025. We want those ATIC points to drop. For those that are asking in regards to working with me, if you can send us a DM if you're on TikTok, because TikTok is very different. It's a very different platform. Send us a DM, and one of my admins will definitely send you the link for the one-on-ones. If you wish to go on the plans like what Oba was, which is the 6 weeks premium plan, we are happy to put you on a waiting list for that, because that one I only take very, very few few clients in there because it's very intensive. But we're happy to put you on the waiting list for that. But I honestly am honored to be with you guys, and it's been a pleasure.